After you've enabled Power View in Excel 2013, you can create a Power View sheet. Once you create the sheet, you can add tables and matrices to store and display your data. And in this movie, I will show you how to create those items, both tables and matrices. I will use the table sample file, which you can find in the Chapter 11 folder of your exercise files archive. One thing I want to point out about this data is that the month names are a little bit different than you might expect. Rather than just saying January, February, and March, I've said 01 January, 02 February, and 03 March. The reason I did that is because there's no such thing as a custom list for sorting in Power View. So rather than sort month names in alphabetical order, which makes no sense, or reverse alphabetical order, which also makes no sense, if you want to sort the month names in order, you need to add a number to the front. And that's the reason that I have 01 January, 02 February, and 03 March. With that explained, I can create a Power View sheet. To do that, I'll click the Insert tab on the ribbon and click Power View. Doing so creates a Power View sheet and also adds the table that I had selected. You can resize your table inside of your Power View sheet by hovering over one of the handles, and you can see here that I have a vertical two-way arrow, so I'll just drag it down, and when I do, all of the data in the table appears. If I were to resize it again, you can see that there's a vertical scroll bar, so I can move up and down. But in this case, I want to have all of my data and the total row displayed. If I want to turn off the total row, I can go to the Design Contextual tab on the ribbon, click Totals, and then click None. When you bring data into a Power View table, you'll notice that it works as a sum. So for example, we have the sum of the week numbers for January for the balance department, which is 15 weeks. In other words, it counts week 1 as 1, week 2 as 2, and so on, and 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 is 15. And you can see that for February, which only has 4 weeks, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 10. And if you look over in the fields area, you'll see that week is treated as a sum because it's a numerical field. For that reason, I'll go ahead and hide the week column by clearing its checkbox. Also, just to keep the display a little bit simpler, I will clear the checkbox next to average sale so that my table now just has month, department, and customers. If I want to turn this table into a matrix, all I need to do is ensure it is selected, and anytime it's outlined as the grab handles around the side, then it is selected. Then on the Design tab, click Table, and then click Matrix. Doing so changes the object so that you can have columns and row headers. So it's a little bit like a pivot table. Instead of an Excel table, which is column-based, you can have both row and column headers, as in a pivot table versus an Excel table. You'll also notice that the interface over in the Power View Fields area changed. Now I have Tile By, which I won't talk about here, Values, which provides the values for the interior of the matrix. Then I have row headers, month and department. And now I have a columns area, so I can add a field to the columns area so that I have a matrix, or what used to be called a crosstab in older versions of Excel. So I'll drag down the week field to the columns area, and then resize the matrix so that you can see all of the data. Now you can see that rather than using the week numbers as a sum, it's instead using the values so you can see sales for week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and week 5 for January and March. So that's how you add data to the body of a Power View sheet. You can arrange it as a table, which is strictly a column, or you can work with it in a matrix, which allows you to have both column and row headings.